me ask you the last question.
Uh-huh.
Without any serving it up, without any explanation, what is the meaning of life?
I think it's either the wrong question or that question is answered by paying sufficient attention to any present moment such that there's no basis upon which to pose that question. It's not answered in the usual way. It's not a matter of having more information. It's having more engagement with reality as it is in the present moment, or consciousness as it is in the present moment. You don't ask that question when you're most captivated by the most important thing you ever pay attention to.
For most of human existence, the meaning of life was very, very simple. Survival. The only thing that humans cared about was just surviving, because it was so damn difficult for the early years of human existence on this earth. If you look at ourselves as biological agents, everything about our body is set up for one mission, and that is survival. Every reflex we have, every element of our structure is just built up on the battle to survive. And then humans did something remarkable. They elevated themselves through the use of technology and social structure to the top of the food chain, so that they went from extremely vulnerable. If you take a naked human being alone and put them in the Serengeti Plains in Africa, they're in some deep shit.
Can I ask you a ridiculous question?
Please.
What do you think is the meaning of life?
Well, I think there's something very clear to me. I think if you do all of the, if I just take the values that I'm sure we share and extrapolate from them, I think the following thing is actually a moral imperative. Being a human and having opportunity is absolutely fucking awesome, right? A lot of people don't make use of the opportunity, and a lot of people don't have opportunity, right? They get to be human, but they're too constrained by keeping a roof over their heads to really be free. But being a free human is fantastic. And being a free human on this beautiful planet, crippled as it may be, is unparalleled. I mean, what could be better? How lucky are we that we get that, right? So, if that's true, that it is awesome to be human and to be free, then surely it is our obligation to deliver that opportunity to as many people as we can. And how do you do that? Well, I think I know what job one is. Job one is we have to get sustainable. The way to get the maximum number of humans to have that opportunity to be both here and free is to make sure that there isn't a limit on how long we can keep doing this. That effectively requires us to reach sustainability. And then at sustainability, you could have a horror show of sustainability, right? You could have a totalitarian sustainability. That's not the objective. The objective is to liberate people.
Life is what you make of it, really, right? It's each of us has to have our own meaning, and it doesn't have to be, well, I think that in many cases meaning is to some degree associated with goals. You set some goals or expectations for yourself, things you want to accomplish, things you want to do, things you want to experience, and to the degree that you experience those and do those things, it can give you meaning. You don't have to change the world the way Newton or Michelangelo or Da Vinci did. I mean, people often say, you change the world, but look, come on, there's 7.5, close to 8 billion of us now. Most of us are not going to change the world. And does that mean that most of us are leading meaningful lives? No, it just has to be something that gives you meaning, that gives you satisfaction, that gives you a good feeling about what you did. And often, based on human nature, which can be very good and also very bad, but often it's the things that help others that give us meaning and a feeling of satisfaction. You taught someone to read. You cared for someone who was terminally ill. You brought up a nice family. You brought up your kids. You did a good job. You put your heart and soul into it. You read a lot of books, if that's what you wanted to do. Had a lot of perspectives on life. You traveled the world, if that's what you wanted to do. But if some of these things are not within reach, you're in a socioeconomic position where you can't travel the world or whatever, you find other forms of meaning. It doesn't have to be some profound, I'm going to change the world, I'm going to be the one who everyone remembers.
What does it mean to be a human being? And in one way or another, we set out to answer those questions, and we do it in a different way. Some may look to philosophy to answer these questions. Why is it in one's personal interest to do good, to do just, to do justice? Some may look at it through the economist's lens. Some may look at it through the microscope in the laboratory, that the phenomenal world is the meaning of life. Others may say that that's one vocabulary, that's one description, but the poet describes a reality to the same degree as a physicist. But that's the purpose of an education. It's to sort of work through these issues. What does it mean to be what does it mean to be a human being? And I think it's a fascinating journey, and I think it's a lifelong endeavor to figure out what is the thing, that nugget that makes us human.
Do you still see yourself as a student?
Of course.
The problem is it's a why question. You can keep asking why forever, right? Any answer I give you, you'll just ask why again, why again,
like
why
a little
again.
kid.
That's right. And you end up in a place called Agrippa's trilemma. Okay, this is a philosophical exercise, but I kind of thought it through and Googled around, and there's a thing called Agrippa's trilemma. And Agrippa's trilemma says that any questioning like this, why, will always end in one of three places. Okay, first is infinite regress, right? Why? Because of this. Why that? Why that? And just keep going forever. The second is circular reasoning. Well, A. Why A? Because of B. Well, why B? Because of A. Right? You get trapped in that. Or the third is an axiom. And the most popular axiom is God. But it could be anything, because of math, because of science, because of the Big Bang, because of simulation, right? These are all axioms. These are all just stopping points. Saying simulation, we're in a simulation, or saying it's the Big Bang is just another way of saying God. It's just, God's a dirty word, so we don't use it as much anymore, but same thing. So you end up in one of these three dead ends, essentially, right? So there is no answer. The real answer is because.